Good afternoon, folks. What we have here, we got lots of questions on. And I told old boy the other day, I said, I'm just going to make a video on this thing. That's our old dozer. And some folks call it a drum chopper, a forestry chopper, a roller chopper. It's a chopper. We get a lot of calls for this thing. We get a lot of stuff. A lot of people aren't planting these old pines back, and they're not wanting to wait 20, 22 years and make a crop and harvest, and you only get three crops in your lifetime if you start when you're real young. So anyway, they selling their pines and letting that old clock and calendar get away from them. They'll look out there, and in about 5 years, that stuff's 20 foot tall. And they're like, well, I don't know what to do. Well, here's your answer for it. If you've got small acreage, the big boys won't play with you. They won't come out there and run one of these and bring their equipment and their skidders. And if you sold your pines and you got 10 acres of land and you didn't run a chopper over them, your pines are sealed. And they're going to stay that way. They're going to turn into fat wood, light or not, whatever you want to call it. And the stuff's going to grow up and just going to keep going and going. And we run into a lot of it. And we go through that stuff. It's 20 foot tall. And they'll call us out there to see that old plow doing its thing. And we tell them, well, you can't get that plow down to the ground because you go in there and have to make 4 or 5 passes with that plow. And it's just too time consuming. Where you can go over it with this thing here one time, and this thing here will just devastate that 20 foot tall stuff and chop all that stuff up. The thing weighs 26,000 pounds empty. You can fill it up with water and it'll weigh 44,000 pounds. It's 10 foot wide. The blades are 10 foot long. The chopper's 12 foot wide, but it's got 10-inch blades on it, 14 of them, and it will devastate a 6-8 inch branch. This thing is terrible nasty. I just got through. It's hard to keep a tongue on these things because they go through over. If they cut them old hardwoods, like some of them they cut 3 foot tall, and it'll knock your hat off your head and brad your nose against the windshield. I just put a brand new hitch on this thing. We had it made at the machine shop. That's some 4-inch iron right there, and I hope this one stays on because we go through some nasty. So some of this stuff we get off into is, like I say, 20 foot tall and 6-8 inches around. It's way too big to shred. You don't want to mulch it. And mulching, the thing about mulching is that's why you mow your yard. You call it mowing, but it's actually mulching, or you're putting dead stuff on top of live stuff, and which is going to feed the next generation there. And if you got a mulching head on a bobcat or something like that, you don't want to put it down in the dirt because it'll dull them teeth, and them teeth are expensive. So if you mulch with a bobcat or a mulching head or anyone, a track hoe, anything, you're going to have stumps left. They're going to be covered up. You cleared the air, but you didn't clear the land. You run this whole thing here over it and then get out there with that roam and flip it. That roam's got 32-inch blades, so you can get out there on that roam. If it's not real thick, you don't need this chopper. But if that stuff's 10, 12 foot, 15, 20 foot high, I've sat out there on that dozer, start at it, and you get 20 foot into it. I've sat there with a compass on my phone aiming for the back property line because you can't see anything past the front of the blade. And it gets kind of interesting sometimes. But a lot of folks don't, you got to be an old timer around here to know what these things are. And a lot of folks, they've never seen them. A lot of folks move from Florida and buy 10 acres of land, sell the timber, and then they go, rut-row. Anyway, we fall out there with this old thing, run over it a time or two, and then hit it with that roam, and you got pasture land. You got dirt. I had another one of my genius plans there this morning when I pulled this thing out here. I said, well, let me throw a bunch of 4 and 5 and 6-inch logs under the back of this thing, and I'll back over and pull back forward, and I'll show the folks, what it before and after and all that. Well, I backed back over them and pulled back forward, and my logs are gone. This thing's terrible nasty. I got some sticks left right there where I didn't go. But you fall down in them little trenches right there, they 10 inches deep. I wish they were 10 foot deep. They're 10 inches deep, and then you hit it with that roam. Oh, you got nice pasture land then, boy. This thing's just terrible. It's the only way to go, really. But anyway, there's a lot of folks don't know what this was and what it does, and we get asked all the time. So we said we'd make a video and put it up on the channel. Hope y'all enjoy. You got any questions, give me a holler. Thank you now.